welcome to the Ayurvedic Life. This is the part 2 of strategies to improve your digestion or Agni video. In part 1, we talked about how it is more important how we digest our food. It is even more important than what we actually eat. We talked about at a high level what the strategies are to improve your digestion. So let's quickly recap. Those 4 strategies are: 1, pay attention to what you ingest. 2, watch your lifestyle. 3, befriend spices and herbs. And 4, manage your stress. So let's look at each of these in a little more detail in this video. The first one is pay attention to what you ingest. Now, food is a big part of what we ingest. So let's talk a little bit about how we should be looking at food from the viewpoint of improving Agni. One of the things that surprised me when I first started delving into Ayurveda was how it is more important to eat cooked food and not, raw foods. Raw foods shouldn't dominate your diet. You can eat raw foods in moderation, but cooked foods should be predominantly on your plate because cooked food is more easy to digest than raw food. The other thing about raw food is you can consume it in moderation, especially in the summer months, but to offset the cold and rough and the dry qualities of salads, Ayurveda recommends adding good fats to it like ghee or olive oil and also herbs. And sometimes you can also lightly cook or saute your vegetables in your salad. The other thing about ingesting food is to make lunch the biggest meal of the day. We have always been sort of, told that breakfast should be the biggest meal. Lunch should be the biggest meal according to Ayurveda because Agni or digestion, the digestive fire, is at its peak at lunchtime. Okay, so it only makes sense to eat your biggest meal at lunch. Now, other things to consider about food is eating. You definitely shouldn't starve yourself, but you should eat until you're about like 3/4 full. You don't want to be so full that you can't move. I mean, you want to eat so that you're satisfied, but you're not overly full. And the reason being, that's the best way to, the digestive juices can do their thing. And, you're not sort of like dousing that digestive fire with too much of food. Fruit should not be consumed as part of your meals. They should be consumed separately as a snack because fruits kind of hinder that digestion process. So eat your fruit separately as a snack. Water. Now, you can drink sips of water when you eat your meal according to Ayurveda, but refrain from drinking a lot of water right before a meal or right after a meal. So sips during the meal are great of water, but don't drink big, glasses of water, cups of water before and after a meal because that just dilutes, the digestive fire. Now, moving on to beverages and water in general. You want to make sure that you drink room temperature or warm water through the day. Why? Because cold water and cold beverages, again, are considered to be extinguishing for the, they kind of like dilute the Agni and they extinguish that digestive fire. So drink up, hydrate yourself, but keep that room temperature or, warm water if you can. And the same goes for beverages, warm teas, room temperature beverages, not cold ice beverages. The other thing with ingestion is, and everything we take in through our senses, right? So pay attention to what you watch on like TV or social media because everything has an effect on your digestion. That sounds weird, right? Like, let me give you an example. We talk about how we get butterflies in our stomach when we are nervous. Well, that's like a psychosomatic reaction, right? You're nervous, your emotions are now playing a direct effect on your body. So everything is connected even though it doesn't seem obvious at first. So pay attention to what you ingest, so what you watch, what you listen to. So, we all, indulge in a little bit of gossip and hearsay and, have those kind of conversations. Think about whether you really want to do that because that has an effect too on your health. Okay, moving on to the second point, watch your lifestyle. So in Ayurveda, Dinacharya or routine is just, so important, and it's talked about all the time. And I have some videos too on YouTube about this, and I'll put a link to that in the description. So Dinacharya or routines are very, very important. Make sure you have a fixed time for when you wake up, when you go to sleep, when you eat your meals, when you exercise. Everything should be with a routine. And in Ayurveda, they talk about how we should also be, sort of following the circadian rhythms of our bodies and also the seasonal rhythms in nature. That's just the best way to maintain good health and good Agni. Now, exercise, moving on to exercise, we're all used to like pushing it and, overdoing it. In Ayurveda, they actually recommend relax. And this was something that I took and I was like, yay. But exercise should be moderate. So you should be working yourself to like a point of being moderately exhausted. You don't want to be so exhausted that, you're completely depleted. Exercise moderately, but regularly, and consistency is the key here. So every day, whatever you're doing, exercise should be a part of your daily routine. Third thing in lifestyle would be sleep. It's a pillar of good health. You want to make sure that you get good quality sleep. I would say 8 hours of good quality sleep every night. Sleep early, because it also matters when you go to bed. So by 10:30, be nice you should be asleep by 10:30 and wake up by 6:30 or at sunrise. It's also important to not have too much of exposure to screens before you go to bed, and that just helps with, again, settling in, relaxing before you go to bed. So quality sleep is another thing in your lifestyle that's very important and connected to your Agni. The next thing under lifestyle would be, performing some kind of like yoga asanas. Yoga should be like, I don't want to say should be, but yoga, think about yoga as something that can be a great part of your lifestyle. Because yoga is not just a bunch of like poses where you stretch the body. Yoga really works inside out, okay? And it really helps to, some of these asanas are really good at flushing out the toxins and the ama from the body. And some of the asanas are great for igniting that digestive fire or Agni. So yoga is something that you should consider as part of a healthy lifestyle. Again related, but pranayama and breathing is another, like breathing exercises that are there under the yogic science are a great thing for the Agni. And similar benefits can be brought by being in nature, breathing in that fresh air, taking in that prana. That also helps with the Agni. All right, let's move on to the third strategy, which is befriend spices and herbs. All right, digestive spices, there are so many, and some of them are cumin, coriander, fennel, ginger, pepper. These are all great things, great spices to include in your daily diet, because they're just great for the Agni and they're great for eliminating ama or the waste. CCF Tea, I will put a link to that video as well, is another great tea which helps to balance all the doshas, and it also helps to improve Agni and eliminate ama. So it's one of those things that is a daily part of our diet, and I would highly encourage you to check that out too. As I said, I'll put a link to that video. Ginger tea is another great tea to have through the day. While we're on the topic of spices and herbs, I just want to mention some Ayurvedic formulations. There's one called Trikatu. And Trikatu is basically, I think it's ginger, long pepper, and short pepper. So it's basically a bunch of digestive spices put together. It's a formulation, Ayurvedic formulation, and it's great for improving Agni. So sometimes when we feel like, we don't have hunger, and, it's called Manda Agni in Ayurveda. This Trikatu is a great formulation to have. It stokes that digestive fire, and you feel that hunger again. And only when you feel that hunger should you eat, because that's when your food gets digested the best. Another formulation is Triphala. Triphala is a great Ayurvedic formulation. It's great for eliminating ama. It's a mild laxative. So that's another one to consider when we're talking about spices and herbs. Coming to our last point, our fourth strategy, which is manage your stress. Now, we all know that stress is a part and parcel of our lives. We have accepted that, and that's fine. But we need to be aware of when that stress gets to a point where it starts to become debilitating for our health, right? I mean, so being mindful, being aware, and being very intentional about managing our stress becomes very important. So some strategies are journaling, I don't know, talking to someone you trust, meditating. I mean, whatever works for you, figuring that out and trying to make that a part of your lifestyle is very important. Actually, it's not intuitive again, but stress and Agni, they're just related. I mean, the more stress you have, your digestion is going to be not great. Okay, so consider, the other thing I want to mention here is meditation. It's definitely something that's, I would encourage you to think about making it a part of your lifestyle, because meditation really helps us resolve some of these, unresolved emotions and experiences and thoughts that we have. And we go through a lot on a day-to-day basis. So having meditation be a part of our lifestyle really helps us process things, and we just come out of it feeling like we are in a little bit of a better emotional and mental health. So these are the 4 strategies. I hope this was useful to you. I will put the links, as I said, in the description, and I hope you have a great day. See you. Take care. Bye.